Welcome to the 5. Our list begins with a place that many secret hunters swear by. Number 1. Mount Royal, Montreal, Quebec, Canada. The Casque is definitely in Montreal, but more on the east coast and not in Mount Royal Park. Nor is the Casque in the backyard of George Stevens' house, the house where the leg-eater lamp points, or any of the parks in downtown Montreal. The true location of the Montreal Casque is North America's first St. Louis. The original St. Louis is the true inspiration behind Byron's St. Louis email to Johann. In the opinion of the DCCR team, the Montreal puzzle represents America's short-lived victory in the fight for Canada. This is why Canadians never received a French version of the book. We will explore the site of the real St. Louis plus more evidence in future projects. Next on our list is another popular spot that could come with an alleged price tag. Number 2. The Fountain of Youth, St. Augustine, Florida. Let me start by saying, my team, and I do not buy into the whole pay-to-play venue idea. For those who don't know, that phrase means you shouldn't have to pay money to dig up a casque or even to look around the area. Byron wanted us to buy the book. The DCCR team believes that he wouldn't want us to spend any more money than necessary to participate in the secret. That means places like Disney World, the Florida Aquarium, the Salvador Dali Museum, and the Fountain of Youth are out. The gentleman who owns the Fountain of Youth has allegedly reaped lucrative benefits from the secret and its community. Allegedly, the Fountain of Youth management charges people to dig. The alleged fee could be around $200 per hole. Regardless, let's look at some reasoning behind why the Fountain of Youth is not home to a casque. Since 1927, the Fountain of Youth has been an archaeological site. Burying a casque in an archaeological site doesn't make much sense. Creating a puzzle around a park where the casque could potentially be found by people searching for historical evidence, unaware the secret exists. Burying a casque on an active archaeological site runs the risk of destroying priceless historical evidence. Burying a casque in an area where there's a good chance it will be found by people not participating in the hunt defeats the entire puzzle-solving point of the secret, making the game element null and void. It seems highly unlikely that Byron would bury a casque on land that is classified as private property. The Fountain of Youth has been under private ownership for many years, even prior to the existence of the secret. In our team's opinion, there will never be a casque found at the Fountain of Youth. Do yourself a favor and save your money. Just because the next option has been the main choice for years, doesn't mean it's correct. Number 3. Herman Park, Houston, Texas. Many secret theorists know the tale of the man who had the kind of unrestricted access to a location most of us hunters just dream of. This individual had obtained both the park manager's authorization and assistance. They let him search with an excavator. He checked anywhere he wanted, including all around where the train was in 1981. He meticulously searched the children's zoo. He was even able to bring his whole family to help. If the casque was in Herman Park, the man and the park manager would have found it. As far as the DCCR team is concerned, the casque is not located at Herman Park. The DCCR team feels for that gentleman. Many of us know the feeling of not finding a casque in a park we were so sure about. If the man had known about the DCCR exclusive discovery of the algorithm, maybe he would have taken his task to a different 982, he may have found the real train. Not only does 982 fit the algorithm, but at 982 Bagby Street in downtown Houston, you'll find yourself at a four-way crosswalk in the middle of four alike streets. If you find where Herman really lived, you may just find the casque. If you want to see all the evidence that supports 982 Bagby and the rest of DCCR's Houston theory, you should check out the links in the comments. This next entry is dedicated to everyone who requested more secret info from the home of jazz music. Number 4. Jackson Square Park, New Orleans, Louisiana. If you pretend that there's no giant Louis Armstrong face, or there's no arch that represents the famous entrance to Armstrong Park in the image, Jackson Square seems like a good choice, but is it really? After some investigation, the reason why there isn't a Casque in Jackson Square Park is, in our opinion, quite simple. If you look at the park's opening and closing hours, it would have been incredibly difficult for BP to bury a Casque at Jackson Square Park. Jackson Square Park is one of New Orleans' busiest parks. BP trying to bury a Casque during the day without being seen is near impossible, but I know what you are thinking. He could have been disguised as a city worker. Undertaking excavation activities in Jackson Square during the day would have posed a significant risk of attracting numerous witnesses, making it difficult to maintain the discretion required, regardless of any disguise. What about digging in Jackson Square at night? It's very doubtful due to Jackson Square Park being closed at night, with a part of it locked up behind iron gates. Jackson Square Park has been known to have a significant number of homeless individuals sleeping in and around the area at night. Back in 1981, this issue was even more significant and presented a much greater risk, something that Byron would have certainly tried to steer clear of. The presence of police patrols in the vicinity has further complicated the idea of Jackson Square as a dig site. The true Casque location leads us to a much less crowded area in New Orleans. This area has a deep history attached to the African American as well as the Haitian communities and to jazz music. To discover the true location of the New Orleans Casque, Armstrong Park is a potential route to get there. Unfortunately, in 2005 Hurricane Katrina destroyed that area, and though many clues survived the storm, clues like the real-life objects that are represented by the line, 3 stand watch in the verse and by the 3 on the clock in the image are unfortunately now gone. Do you want more info? The DCCR team have more New Orleans evidence and articles planned for the future. As for our last entry, we head to the Holy City, the city that started a war. Number 5. White Point Gardens, Charleston, South Carolina. Our last entry is a little bit different than the other entries on our list. We are not disputing the proposed park, just the popular spots that have been theorized over and over again. Why would we do such a thing? Because the DCCR team has seen these spots probed and scanned with GPR, with any radar hits being inspected and dug up with a shovel. We believe the Charleston Casque is absolutely located in White Point Gardens. The truth is, the Casque is located on the side of White Point Gardens that is always overlooked. Since the beginning of the hunt, people have been proposing the same exact areas in White Point Gardens. As the secret gains new fans, I see people making the same mistakes, seemingly stuck in an endless repeating cycle. The areas we are speaking about include the East Battery side where the capstan used to be, the area in front of or across the street from Villa Margarita or William Washington's house on South Battery, the area around the hand of the Sergeant Jasper statue, the area near the hand of the Defenders Monument, the area all around the USS Hobson obelisk. There are no casques buried in these areas, and this is how we know. In 2019, the DCCR team was present for the search of White Point Gardens, performed by the TV show Expedition Unknown. The Expedition Unknown team conducted a comprehensive search of White Point Gardens. Expedition Unknown was filming its second secret episode called Cracking the Secret. Throughout the day, the DCCR team remained on site, carefully observing and documenting their investigation. The Expedition Unknown team had obtained permission, took their time, and scanned 7 out of 8 parts of the park. They were well organized and had a sufficient-sized crew. They had ideas from people whom Expedition Unknown considered to be the leading experts on the subject. They had help from champion scavenger hunters and Parks Department employees. This includes past winners, journalists, Charleston historians, some chosen secret fans, and some secret-based media providers. Plus thousands of emails. Expedition Unknown thoroughly scanned 7 out of the 8 areas of the park, exploring every conceivable spot in those 7 areas. They checked every side except for half of King Street, which is the 8th and final piece of White Point Gardens. Logically, the Casque must be located in the remaining unsearched area on King Street. If you're wondering why Expedition Unknown didn't finish, Expedition Unknown didn't search the last area due to several factors. The day started with great enthusiasm, and as every expert's spot failed, the Expedition Unknown team's morale dropped significantly. After 5 p.m., the GPR person wanted to call it a day. The crew was also getting tired and losing the will to finish. Members of the DCCR team spoke with the expedition crew asking them to please complete the search. After a debate amongst the team, we were told they would return the next day to finish. They didn't return the next day. Instead, they visited Fort Moultrie in pursuit of a lead that proved to be almost as ridiculous as the fake San Francisco Casque incident that happened soon after the Charleston search. We later learned that part of King Street didn't follow the line of logic Expedition Unknown and their experts subscribed to. So that was that, a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity that was unfortunately left one area away from completion, one area away from full closure. It's game over. As far as the Parks Department of Charleston is concerned, this is a closed issue. Maybe someone can convince them otherwise, and if that's you, stay away from the checked areas, they've been thoroughly searched. Thank you for watching this edition of The 5.